Hey, this is Doug Lee. I'm here with my brother, my metal brother, Jason Stallworth. Some of you know him from television and YouTube and his live performances. He's all over the place. We got a little special something. The new Sirens album hit the street. I said Sirens. The new Siren album hit the street today in America. These are the first ones on American soil. Just got here. Gonna take a look at this thing later on. This is a blue one, so.
It is vinyl, dude. This is cool. This is.
Jason had some questions. Maybe he might want to ask me. I don't know.
I did. First of all, thank you for letting me be on your channel.
Thanks for being on my channel.
Some people watching be like, hey, well, this looks like Jason's channel because they see the background and all. But no, this is actually on your channel, Doug Lee. And, you know, as you guys know, Doug does have his own YouTube channel, which you're on right now. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, guys, and subscribe to Doug's channel. You got some good stuff coming out. But
I got several different series of good things coming up.
Yes.
Going to talk about some people from the past, some products from the present and the future, and maybe some talk about some different guitars and some stories behind them. So we got a lot of things coming up this season.
You've got a lot of guitars with a lot of stories behind them. I know this because I've heard them, but you guys haven't heard them yet. So, yeah, we're going to be...
I don't even think you've heard all of them.
No, not all of them.
There's a lot of them.
Not possible, man. But, dude, this album, I mean, you know, I think most of you know the story, but, I mean, give us a backstory real quick. Because you guys pretty much died out back in, what, late 80s, early 90s or something like that?
Yeah, it was like the early 90s. I think that was when... before I went to Europe in 1990, and I did a project with all European musicians, which was my European Siren. We did a pre-production for the third Siren album that never came to fruition, but we had a lot of fun doing the pre-production. Some of those songs were actually from the Up From the Depths album. Oh. Some of those songs made it to that. I mean, that was a huge anthology. When we first got back together as a band with the original cast from the past, that was the first production we released, was Up From the Depths, which was like a 30-some song anthology of a bunch of our old stuff, some new stuff that we just put together. Then we did an album a couple years later called Back From the Dead.
That was a good album.
That got a decent amount of success. And in the meantime, we did a movie called I'm Too Old for This Shit. And then now we've got a Mercenary's Fate. We released the CDs, came out in the end of last year, but now the vinyl is here. I don't know if anybody is familiar, but a lot of things going on with vinyl in the world today, with shortages and the amount of places that actually press vinyl. So it's quite a complicated process to actually get vinyl out into the market now. So, and now the demand is actually up for vinyl. So.
Yeah. I think too, I listen to digital music, I listen to iTunes or whatever, but there's something to be said about the bands that you really love. You still want to have something physical, you know, and this is something physical here. So it's like, okay, and I'll tell you, Doug, and I know, I don't want to sound cliche, dude, but everybody says, well, my latest album is the best, you know, it's the best one, and the next one's the best one, but this is indeed my favorite Siren album, dude. I've listened to this, like, you guys probably have all the plays from me. Like, I'm probably the one to listen to it most because I listen to it like weekly in the gym. I love this album, dude. Well, it's great.
I like to think that we learned something over the X amount of decades that we've been out there, you know, throwing our music out to the world. Hopefully we've learned something and grown in that time. And I mean, obviously I'm partial, but I think this is the best production that we've ever done of any conjuration of Siren, any product from the past and present. I think this is hands down the best thing we've ever done.
And the album, guys, is a Mercenary's Fate here. And you know, Doug, you guys are on iTunes and Spotify. You can listen to the album on those places as well, right? You guys are all over the platforms. But again, they have the physical stuff too. So good stuff.
I was actually looking at all the videos of songs that I've done that are out there. I have over 1 million views.
Wow,
not to brag, but I mean, that was a lot of math I had to do and a lot of video finding. So I'd at least like to mention that. No. Over 1 million views.
That's great, dude. I'm glad you guys are you know, moving forward with this thing. What was recording vocals like? I mean, you know, you sang back in the day. I know you were active with Mekong Delta. I think you and I talked about that on my channel several months ago. And then after that, you know, I don't really know much about your projects after that. You know, you and I met, I mean, this was back in what, 2017, 18 or something like that. So I didn't really know you during all these other years when all the cool stuff was happening. But
That's a bummer.
I know it is a bummer,
We
man.
could have had a
'cause
lot more fun then.
we would have been in a band, and hey, who knows? We may start something.
Maybe we are now.
Maybe so, right?
Something.
But
I hear something.
what was it like, though, coming back, you know, like to Siren and mainly recording vocals? Because I'll tell you, dude, you still have it. A lot of vocalists, and not that you're old, but a lot of vocalists that started back in the 80s.
What?
Yeah, it's like, well, I didn't hear
What'd
you.
you say?
But a lot of them, they just don't have it anymore, you know, but you still do. I mean, listening to this album and even the album before this, you still have it. So,
Well, I take that as quite a compliment coming from you.
but what did you do?
Somebody that's out there doing it
Thank you.
I don't even know how you have time to be here today because you're just out there beating the streets all the time
we're
with the
pretty
guitar.
busy. How did you do that though? Like, how did you pull that off? I mean, have you just stayed consistent with vocal exercises over the years?
Yeah, I mean, I have a vocal routine and a physical routine that I do every day. And if we're going to be playing shows or things are going to get more intense, then I have a more intensive workout and routine that I do to keep up with it. But I've tried to keep up with it over the years, and I work really good with Ed as my vocal. I'm not going to say vocal coach, but my vocal director in the studio. He knows me. He knows what I can do, and you know, as a producer, he knows how to make me do it. So.
And you guys, you know, I know all you guys know Ed quite well. Ed's a good friend of mine, and I've met both Todd and Hal as well. Great folks, love all you guys. You guys seem to work really well together, especially you and Ed. You know, when we talked about you guys being in Ed's studio recording the initial vocal tracks, and you know, you talked about how he sort of, you know, would coach you, not really coach you, but it's like, hey, let's try this instead of that. And just kind of shape things, and it just came together really well. It's like a seamless, you know.
Well, we started out doing vocals in Todd's studio, so it was kind of like
That's
a
right,
vocal pre-production.
Yeah.
And then we had done we're probably 4 or 5 songs into it, and Ed just came over one night and he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to show you some tricks," because I guess he's had some of the equipment. He's a little bit more familiar with it than Todd was, and he was showing Todd some things, and just decided to start doing the vocals over at Ed's studio, and then things just kind of just snowballed from there.
It snowballed in a really good way, man. And then you guys, I had the pleasure, and thank you so much for allowing me to be in the presence at More Sound Studio when you guys were doing the mixing and mastering and all that. Yeah, you remember I got to come over. That's on my channel as well. I got to come over and hang out with you and Ed, and I believe Todd was there as well.
Yeah, I think he went up when I first got. I think Todd left. He was the first one to leave that day. I think he was there earlier, and I came a little bit later. But we were all there for a minute together.
That was so cool.
I love that studio. It's like steampunk meets Captain Nemo meets nostalgia, gangster, it's everything.
But I remember hearing the tracks in there, man, as going through the mixing process and all, and it was just like a magical moment, dude. I mean, and this is a legendary studio. Jim is a legend, so it was just a really cool experience. I was glad to be
he's
part
a
of
blast to work with too.
Yeah, he seemed like a real cool dude.
He's a really good
real
guy.
Fun. But dude, what would you say to folks that have either been in the music scene and then just kind of left it, and they're kind of like they've got that regret, they want to get back to it, right? I mean, or somebody that maybe is, you know, kind of our age, because, you know, we're not young spring chickens anymore, neither one of us are. But I mean, sometimes people think that, well, I mean, that was it. I missed my chance. I mean, what would you say to those folks?
Well, you know, I hate to use this as an example, but because where is Greg? But in the movie, Greg kind of laid it out there. He said if I can't remember his exact quote, but he said, if it's in you, it's in you, and it's not going to go away. So I mean, just believe in yourself. You never know when history and fate might come knocking on your door. You know, you don't want to not answer it or send them away, because just don't give up your dreams, I guess, is the basic takeaway from that immortal saying from the movie.
It's that simple, isn't it? I mean, it really is, dude. You mentioned believing in yourself, and you know, we all go through ups and downs in life. I mean, I've gone through my fair share. You have as well, dude. And but no, that's really powerful when you think about it. And you know, hey, I want to encourage you guys watching too, man. If you've got something inside of you, man, take that first step of action and just push it. Get it out there.
So it really comes across in the movie, you know, all the pitfalls and all the things where it could have gone wrong and derailed, but we just kept staying steady and kept with it. And you know, most of the people that commented on the movie said, "Yeah, I was in a band, and that really struck a chord with me because you know we were right there, and then we didn't quite, you know." But
yeah,
you just never know.
Because you could
don't ever stop.
Right, you're right. And you could have easily said, Doug, you could have easily said back then, you know, like we had our shot. We didn't get the big label. We didn't get the big deal back then. And you could have just hung it up and like, well, that's it for me. I just got to do something else. But I think over the years, I mean, clearly you've held on to that dream in some capacity. And then things started happening.
But it wasn't just that. It was the fans. And the fans were the catalyst behind,
you guys.
You know, them contacting Ed and the emails and the you know, past invite to keep it true that I wasn't able to make, and then they wanted us to come again. And I mean, if you watch the movie, I'm too old for this shit, Heavy Metal Fairy Tale. Yeah. It's all in there, you know. I mean, all the people that have made comments have said, I mean, I know where you're coming from because I've been there. You know, the themes are pretty common, and it's just a good story. But I mean, that's the root of the story is don't ever give up your dreams. Believe in yourself.
Man, I love that, dude. I love that. That's awesome. A lot of gold in here, man. So, hey, should we crack open a beer before we finish the video?
I'd rather be gold than old.
There we go. I'm kind of both.
Olden and golden.
What are we drinking today, by the way? We didn't intend for this to be part of the video, I don't think, but
Let's
here we are.
try that one.
So,
metal and beer.
That's right, the metal and beer shirt, right? You've got one too. So we're trying this right here, man. I didn't even look to see the name of it. It's called Joker's Wit.
Wild. It's a wit.
It's a double wit bitter, man.
It's a boulevard. Most boulevards are pretty good.
You know, I would say as a thank you for having me on your channel, dude. But, you know, you're actually kind of like thanking me by giving me the beer because this is your beer.
it's kind of a collaboration.
Yeah. Hey, guys, please subscribe to Doug's channel.
I was going to say
he doesn't like to ask for the subscribers.
Where we put the record.
Oh, it's over here. I'll grab it.
But
yeah,
when I was at Todd's studio today, picking these up because he just came in. Thanks, Holger. Thanks, Frank. I really that package looked like something off of a Chevy Chase movie. It was amazing, but it got here and it was well packed. But it was very, very cliched looking package. It almost looked like a Santa Claus bag. But anyway, when I was at Todd's studio, I think he's getting close to being finished with his solo project. Yeah. I know he plays one of the songs because when we did the Mercenary's Fate album, we had we picked out the best songs. There were maybe 30 or 40 songs. Awesome. And there was one that I was wanting to use for my solo album that Todd did. It's kind of a bluesy, metally, rockabilly rocker, and called I Can't Go Home or something about not going home. And I was wanting to put that on my solo album, but I saw that he put it on his solo album. But anyway, he's getting close to being finished with that. I don't know he told me what it's going to be called. It's a really cool name, but I forgot. It's going to be out pretty soon. Then hopefully Todd's going to help me get back to work on my solo album. So hopefully before the end of the year, that'll be done and coming at you. Hopefully we'll have some funky, cool colored vinyl to go with that as well. Maybe they'll even do black this time.
That would be cool. Yeah, I was about to ask what is next. So cheers by the way, dude.
My
cheers.
Well, I'm sorry didn't mean to beat you to the punch. Are we live?
No, we're not live.
Feels like it.
This is just a regular video here. I was trying to get the name of this. Boulevard Brewing Company real quick, guys. Joker's Wit from Boulevard Brewing Company.
It's kind of a sweet one.
You guys made a good beer if you happen to be watching this.
Tastes some pretty good. I mean, Boulevard comes up with some pretty interesting. They collaborate with other breweries and make a lot of special releases. And I know they have some really good bourbon aged, barrel aged, different beers that they make as well. So
But I wanted to ask you though,
Cheers,
and
brother.
you just answered, what's next? Because I know that you being the lead vocalist and the frontman for Siren, that's
Not too bad.
that's not all you do. I mean, you've got your solo stuff coming up, which you just talked about. So that's in the works, and I mean, you've pretty much got songs for that laid out, kind of, or how
Yeah,
how far
I
along?
do. I mean, I've got way more songs than I need, but I keep coming up with newer, different stuff that maybe is more expressionary of what I want to say. I'll probably have another couple albums worth of stuff left over myself.
Awesome, man.
I could just do an album of what's going on in the world today. I got a lot of songs down that avenue, but
There's a lot going on today,
maybe
man.
it's better to not do that right now.
Well, dude, thank you again for having me on the channel,
Well,
man.
thank you, brother.
I
And
appreciate it.
I've
Cheers.
never had this beer before, but it's actually pretty tasty. It's a double wit.
Cool.
I don't mean if that means it's smarter than we are, but I don't think
It's
so.
double wit. I don't
Is it
know. It
double
might be
wit? Does
smarter
that mean
than we
it's a
are.
really smart beer? It's a smart beer? I don't know.
But us together, we're double, so that we could double.
We have
outwit
double
this
the
one.
wit of that beer. Cheers, my brothers and sisters.
Cheers, guys, and I guess we'll see you on Doug's next video.
Coming at you soon.
Yes.